to Shmirchik, Fetcher's Corner, where you'll experience all the unpleasantness that comes with me, including farting, sneezing, wheezing, oozing, snoozing, slipping, witching, twitching, and everything else. If you can handle that, then welcome. Basically, I'm here to expose Jew haters on steroids. Okay? Because... let's see, Turkey. Yeah. Because it's important, and it's going to be very interesting as we go on. So I'm going to expose the conversation that I had this morning with somebody that supposedly was my friend and not a Jew hater, right? But this just proves to me that the black community, and I'm convinced of this, they've always been Jew hating. And it's something within them that they have. They're jealous of Jewish people, and they hate Jews. Not all of them, but most of them. And it's really sad because it's just a fact of the matter, and they seem to have this issue with Jewish people and the Jewish community. And it's been this way for ages and ages and ages, even though Jewish people have stuck with them. All right? Jewish people have been there with the black community. We have been discriminated against in America when there was the apartheid in America, right? In every store there was no Jews, no blacks, and no dogs written on signs outside stores in America. There was segregation. So we suffered the same as black people, and even worse, because people don't just want us to be slaves, they want us dead, right? And another thing about the black community is that they don't realize, like, they stand with the Arabs and the Muslims and the Islamists who actually literally call them slaves. That's how they refer to black people. And they are the most racist, and they are the most bigoted towards the Muslims, towards Jews and blacks. So this is going to be an interesting conversation, and we will go on, right? So I'm never the one that contacts this dude. He's the one that contacts me, right? So he contacts me this morning. How's your channel going? I said, it's okay, thank God I have that outlet. He says, I would thank YouTube, not a deity. So don't thank God, thank YouTube. Okay, look, I understand atheism. Atheism to me is, like, I've experienced it, and I feel like there's two types of atheists. One which comes through, like, atheism, like, it comes from pain. It comes from feeling like there's no one there that's listening to them. It comes from that type of thing. And then there's another type of atheist which come from ego. Right? Like, oh, there's no God. I'm the only one that exists, right? So, I wrote, I believe in the Almighty God of Israel, creator of heaven and earth. He's done miracles for me, and for that I'm thankful all the time. I'm grateful for my life, for everything in my past. Even if it were hell and I've suffered endlessly without hardships, I would not have grown. That's what I wrote to him. He writes, I believe in the Super Saiyan God Goku, the pacifist of Dragon Ball Z. So I wrote back, I've been an atheist as well for a couple of months too, so I understand it. He says, I believe in the Super Saiyan God Goku and the pacifist of Dragon Ball Z. I said, okay, listen, very nice. I don't care who you believe in, believe what you want. At least you believe in some higher power. So I wrote, awesome. With his red hair, I'm sure he holds a lot of power. So he writes back, and I make the rules for the Gokism religion. I have my denomination of it. Goku said that bodily functions are amazing. So this is the type of human being that we're talking about, who is trying to normalize burping in people's faces and farting. Gonna say it, put it out there. He says, Goku said that bodily functions are amazing. Good for you. I said, so you're the god or the follower of this god, he said. I said to him. He says, I'm a follower, but I create these rules. So I responded, he works through you then, like Muhammad the Prophet. I guess, he says, except Goku isn't into children in questionable ways. So he is acknowledging that Muhammad the Prophet is a pedophile. I said, that's great. Muhammad, unfortunately, is, he says. I said, exactly, he's a pervert, disgusting pervert. He created a terrible religion. He says, is Gokuism terrible? Also, why is the religion he created terrible? Just curious. So he's asking me why the religion of Islam is terrible, right? So I wrote back, because it's not about being good to people. It's about insanity, punishment, control, and violence. Whereas other religions such as Buddhism and Hinduism and Judaism aren't about that. He says, what about Gokuism? I said, it's about being careful with the ways you treat others. He says, what about Gokuism? I said, it sounds great. I support it fully. Trying to normalize the stigma of bodily noises. Fine, I'm fine with that. Even though it's weird. And it's rude. And I feel like it's kind of like, you're trying to normalize this bodily functions, but like, people, the reason why it's considered rude, because most people find it revolting and repulsive. So if you're going to go and burp in people's faces, it's disgusting. So it should not be normalized. You know, you should not be burping in people's faces and farting and drooling and all this stuff in people's faces in public areas, because it's disgusting. But he wants to normalize this, so that says a lot about him. Enjoy yourself. Go for it. Go burp in people's faces and see how they respond. You know what I'm saying? So I wrote... So he writes, me too, there's nothing wrong with bodily functions. Juliana burps really loud, and I support her doing that. So there's this YouTuber, her name is Juliana, and her YouTube is all about burping, right? And we do that too. So I'm not one to be like, I burp and fart on my channel, so I'm not going to be like, I don't think it's a polite thing to do, even though I do it myself. Like, I don't think it's polite. He thinks it's okay, good for him, more power to him, right? So, whatever. He says, Juliana said that there's unfortunately discrimination in Brazil when burping in public. So she's afraid about it, but she has pulled it off multiple times. I give her props for that. So she's basically wandering around Brazil burping in people's faces. I'm not for that. I think that, listen, my YouTube channel is my sanctuary, so whatever I do on here, it's kind of like, it is what it is. And if you come to my channel and you see me burping and farting, I'm not proud of it, but you don't have to come to my channel if you don't like it. You know what I'm saying? So I wrote, yes, but it's rude, right? So this is our correspondence. I wrote, yes, but it's rude. He says, for one, it's not. So he doesn't think it's rude. And two, how is that rude? But it's okay to wish death upon other groups of people like you do in your videos. I don't think that's morally credible. Listen, I don't wish people death. I just wish my enemies dead, because they are trying to kill me and my people. Right. I responded, I'll tell you why, because people don't like it. Don't like when you burp. So don't do unto others as you wouldn't have done to you. Right? So if you don't like people burping in your face, then don't burp in other people's faces. But it seems like he wouldn't mind other people burping in his face. So I guess he feels it's okay to burp into other people's faces. And I wrote, and I only wish death onto my enemies because they wish death to me. He says, people don't like when people wish death upon anybody, so he's trying to be a smart ass. So I wrote, it's self-defense. He wrote, you could use bodily function as self-defense too. I wrote, not really. Plus, they're harmless, he says. He says, could say the same thing about wishing death. Whatever. So he's trying to equate his burping on other people's faces to me saying, like, I hope my enemies die. He's trying to equate it, make it the same thing, you know? But I think burping in other people's faces, it's assault. I wrote, it's assault of a deadly kind, germs. If someone tries to kill you, you must kill them first. Your life comes first, I wrote. So if my enemies are trying to kill me and my people, then we're supposed to kill them first. That's the Jewish law. He says, it's not assault. That makes no sense. Burping on people is not assault. Makes no sense, he says. And it's not deadly. Anyway, do you have relatives that got drafted for the dumb war? He's calling it a dumb war. Here we see his attitude towards the Jewish people and our suffering, right? So, first of all, I'm not in contact with my relatives. I don't know if they've been drafted. So that's what I wrote. He says, do you think they should get drafted? I said, everyone from the reserves are drafted. So people who were in the army before and they're a little older, they're in the reserves. So if there's a war, they get drafted. Right? So he says, what's this? I sent him a picture of my dog. So I wrote, every family in Israel, almost including the Druze, which are the Arabs, they get drafted. So he says, do you think it's alright? do you think it's right for them to get drafted? So I wrote, they can refuse to be in the war. They can. Nothing's going to happen to them. They don't have to fight if they don't want to, but I don't think they have to. But they want to. The Israeli soldiers and the reservists, they want to fight because they understand the reason for their fighting. They want to protect us. They want to save the Jewish people from another attack from the Arabs, right? So I wrote, most soldiers are very noble and heroic in Israel. They want to fight. He says, I think being a soldier sounds shitty. You can be a 19-year-old soldier and just die from a straight bullet. He's correct in that, right? He says it sounds ridiculous. That includes soldiers from any country, by the way. Nothing to disagree upon over there, but a soldier is a soldier. They are stoic, they are strong, and they are noble and in what they do. When it comes to the right side, like my people, for example. The Arabs, they fight, they are fighting for their cause, which they think is right, but that is not my business to go and decide why they want to kill me, right? So from my point of view, they are trying to kill innocent Jewish people, so we have to go and fight them. I wrote, war sucks, my friend. He says, yeah, and pointless, but the government gets horny from seeing the death and destruction it causes. They love it. I said, yes, but this is a necessary war. Basically, this war that us Jewish people are fighting within Israel is a necessary war because the Arabs are trying to kill us. He says, not really, none are necessary. Okay, so here we're going to disagree. I wrote, well, when George Floyd got killed, you guys burnt down the whole country. He says, yeah, I didn't do that, though. Good on you, but your people did. He says, why are you acting like I was involved? I wrote, here, 1,400 Jews got murdered in one day, and you're crying for the Arabs. Unreal. He's taking the side of the Gazans who literally murdered us and wanted to do a genocide on us. He says, why are you acting like I was involved? I wrote, I'm saying the black community. So the black community in America, when George Floyd got killed, they burnt down the whole entire world. They burnt down the whole America. Right? Going back. Right? So he says, yeah, the whole thing is stupid. I said, you're saying this war is not necessary. He says, the police suck, the riots were stupid. I wrote, when literally my people were murdered for nothing, my family and friends, this affected me. He says, it's not a necessary war, no war is. So he keeps repeating that. I said, well, sometimes when bad people do things, they need to pay. Or if they win, we let them murder us, then we'll just die. He says, I don't see how you don't get that I'm saying that no conflict should happen. But I feel like you get aroused by conflict or something. So now I think like maybe he gets aroused by conflict because he's actually mentioning it and it's strange. You know, like somebody gets sexually aroused by conflict. It's weird. I said, yes, this war is necessary. He says, because it turns you on. I know. That's what see how sick he is? He's like a sick person. Like, because this war turns me on. No, it's necessary because my people, 1,400 of us, were fucking killed on October 7. And the Arabs, they want to murder us, so they need to pay, and we need to neutralize the threat, you know? So, like, he's sick. He's a very evil person to say such a thing. And I think that he's probably talking about himself. Right? Let me show you from this conversation. I wrote, you just choose to be deaf to what I'm actually saying. He says, not really. I said, yes, really. And he started saying perverted stuff. He says, there should just be a peace treaty. And that card, denial is a bliss. He said he wants a peace treaty. I said, peace treaty, huh? He says, yes. Very hard to make peace, I wrote, with people who just want you dead. Defeatist attitude. So, if somebody came to murder his entire family, and his mother, and his father, and his sisters, and his brothers, and all his black community, I think he'd be thinking differently. Unless he's just a sadist and enjoys watching people suffer, and his whole family dead. You know, so this is his type of attitude, you know, like, if somebody comes to kill his family, he'll be happy. Like, he won't defend them. Like, it's a very strange thing. Defeatist attitude. No, so this is what I said. This is how I responded. We gave them Gaza in 2005. We literally pulled out of Gaza. There were Jewish families living in Gaza. We pulled out. We gave it to the Arabs for peace in 2005. And look what we got in return. For 20 years, we got rockets flying into Israel, killing us. And the Jewish children are hiding under the tables. They're in school, when the siren goes off, they have to like cover their ears and their head and protect themselves, and they have to live in fear and terror, right? Because of us wanting peace. And the Arabs, they don't want peace, obviously, because we tried to give them Gaza for peace, and in return we got terror, right? There's no peace with somebody who wants you dead. There has to be two. It takes two to tango, you know? He's a fucking moron, right? So I wrote to him. He says, look, if you hate Muslims, just say it. Don't need to cover it up with this extra stuff. So here he's putting words in my mouth, right? I don't like Arabs because they have, especially Muslim Arabs, because they hate us. They hate Jews, you know? So they're our enemy, and you're not supposed to love your enemy unless you're Christian. Whereas that it doesn't make sense to love your enemy, right? I wrote, okay, dude, you seem to love Muslims. He says, now you're just spinning opinions on me. So he's throwing his opinion on me. Now he's accusing me of doing the same thing. I said, which is strange, since they would not accept you. They'd actually kill you for being an apostate. So this guy here, Dan, he's an atheist, right? Because he doesn't believe in a God, and especially in Allah, in Islam, they would murder him, and I suspect he's also gay, so they would probably throw him off a roof as well. And he's taking the side of the Muslims, right? He says, I never claimed that. I said, you're doing the same thing. You're spinning your opinions. And he says, how? I said, you're taking their side, telling me I hate people. He says, I have evidence. I said, they are the enemy. I don't hate anyone. I just see logically who is who. I don't have any real hate for anybody. Like, I don't see somebody and be like, I hate somebody. I hate them. I hate them. You know, like, it takes a lot of energy from a person to hate another person. It takes a lot of emotional energy. It takes a lot of thinking. It takes a lot of energy to hate another human being, right? Or another type of people. Like, you have to have no life to actually go and hate other people. You have to have no life. You have to be like, you have to have no life. You have to be somebody who has no job, that is miserable in their life, to hate another person, to put all your focus on that, you know? I have a job, I have my life, I have my hobbies. I don't care enough to hate somebody, you know what I mean? I don't like Arabs. I don't trust them. I don't trust Muslims because of what their Quran says about Jewish people, which is logical. Logic. It's logic. You know, if somebody believes in a religion which preaches hate towards human beings, a certain type of human being, they call us pigs and apes, and they teach their children like 1 + 1 = 1 Jew minus 1 Jew equals 0, right? 5 Jews killed 2. How much is it, right, in math, right? So logically, you will know who not to trust, right? You will know who your enemy is. Because it would be foolish otherwise not to understand who your enemy is, logically, right? So I don't really hate anybody. I just don't trust them. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of them could be nice. Like, the other day I had to go get, like, something from the pharmacy, and the lady behind the pharmacy in Israel here, she was Muslim, Arab, and she was a really nice person to me, personally. She was very nice, individually, one-on-one. However, I don't trust her. You know what I mean? Because the majority rules, and I'm sure at home she learns all about the Jewish people being occupation, and how Israel doesn't belong to Jews, it belongs to her. So when push comes to shove, when it comes time to war, she would choose her side, and she would join in the carnage and the murder of my people. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a matter of knowing who's who and what's what, right? Moving on. So she says, so you claim there's no Muslim that don't hate Jews, despite the fact that I know one. And she's really cool. Listen, individually, there might be Muslims that actually don't know enough about their religion to hate a Jewish person. And even if she would know about enough, and she wouldn't hate Jewish people because she's just a good person, that's a possibility, but it is like 1 in a million, right? So there are individuals that are good people, but the majority rules, you know, and logically you have to see that, because if you don't see that, then you're just being stupid, right? So I said, look where I live. She says, you stereotype all Muslims. Yeah, I do, because stereotypes, I told you many times, I believe in stereotypes. You claim there's no Muslim that don't hate Jews despite the fact that... ... I wrote, Whose side is she on this war? I said, that's all we need to know. He says she's not on either side. I don't believe that. She probably just didn't tell him. I don't believe that, but you know what I mean? Like, it's just natural for you to want to be on the right, on your family's side. So if she's an Arab, then she's going to want to be on her people's side, right? It's just common sense. I said, you believe her, that's funny. He says, oh my gosh, see this, what I'm talking about, the stereotyping. I believe in stereotypes, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's the truth most of the time. I wrote, their religion is a supremacy religion, unless they're ignorant of it. If they don't read their Bible, they won't know to hate Jews. But she's a liar, because all Muslims are taught to hate the non-believer. He says, same for the Quran. Some aren't taught it either. I said, stereotypes are there for a reason. I said, it depends which people they are, right? He says, yeah, dumb fucks make them stereotypes. I believe in stereotypes. Arabic Muslims are very religious. Because, Arabic Muslims are very religious, and they are taught the most radical part of their religion. They're taught that. They're taught that Jews are pigs and apes. They're taught that you're supposed to kill them. They teach, this is what they teach their children from a very young age, right? So if you go to any Arabic city within Israel and you ask them these questions, if they're honest enough, they will answer you the answer that they learn, which is 5 Jews killed 2. How many do you have left, right? But he's not a Jew, so he doesn't care. He's a black person, and it's interesting because black people are supposedly the underdog, but they are jealous of Jews. That's why they hate us, right? He says, dumb fucks who don't know anything. Nope, they're there because I said there are stereotypes there because they're mostly true. Who is the one bombing every city in every country? Who, right? So who's the one that does terrorist attacks in every country, in every city? There was that Jewish couple in Mumbai, right? Their name was Gabby and, what's her name? The Jewish couple in Mumbai, right? Hi, Wall Street. The Jewish couple in Mumbai, they were murdered by Arab terrorists. Yeah, stereotypes are 80% accurate. Thank you, Wall Street. There's no logic. You just said they were your enemy. Face it, you hate just like everybody else. I'm also a Heb. I just hate everybody equally. No, I don't. I won't agree with that. You can dislike somebody, but to hate, you need a lot of fire and passion for that. And I don't have that fire and passion to hate. So, I hear you, but I don't agree with you. Okay, so who's the one that does all the terrorist attacks in every single country? It comes from one, who does all the bombings in every country? It comes from one demographic, right? But then he brings up this other stuff. Here, let's go on. He says that's bullshit. He says, Timothy McVeigh, a night American white boy. So let's go look into this. Timothy McVeigh. Right? Timothy McVeigh was an American domestic terrorist who perpetrated Oklahoma City. But this is far, few, and in between. You can count on your fingers how many white boys are terrorists that do bombings, and most white boys that do these bombings, they actually joined in Islam. They became Muslim, right? So, who is this guy? He was an American terrorist who killed 168 people, but this is far, few, and in between. It's like you can count on your fingers, right? He was a Gulf War veteran. Here we see he probably had some sort of trauma that came with his not being treated. He went to war, and most veterans are traumatized. So it's a completely different case. It's not because of an ideology, right? That it's not because of any religious ideology why he did the bombing, right? So but he did want to do some sort of revolution against the federal government, blah blah blah, nonsense, right? He was in the military, yeah. So we see he had problems, right? Obviously. So he points out this one person, and so you could literally name on your fingers who was a terrorist. He says, look him up, right? So I looked him up, right? It's a stereotype. I said, serial killers are mostly white. So most serial killers that like kill like many people, they come from the white people. So that is a stereotype. And it's a true stereotype because there are, yes, I've seen documentaries where there are other serial killers, but it's not as dominant. It's not a thing where this type of people are serial killers. You know, like white people, they tend to have this tendency to murder people, right? Not many, not all, but like there are most serial killers are white people. You can't deny that, right? He wrote, I said he's a murderer, right? He's a bomber, right? Yeah, whites are stereotyped to be bombers. That's my point. It's not true. They're stereotyped to be serial killers, right? So yeah, if he isn't a Muslim, that's highly unusual. You can't name them on. You can name the terrorists, the white terrorists that are not Muslim. You can name them on your fingers, literally. I said you prove nothing. He said, nah, I proved the point, and there's definitely more examples. Yeah, you can look, but I'm sure there's more examples. But you can name them on your fingers. That's how many there are, right? So he says you can name them on your. I said you can name them on your fingers. That's how few they are. He says, by that logic, all Jews love killing babies. Then is that true too? Okay, so here we're getting into uncharted territory, and we're gonna have to talk about this, right, separately. Okay, so 1 second, where are we? So it's not a stereotype, first of all. Jews killing babies and drinking their blood is not a stereotype. It is a conspiracy theory. There's a difference between that and that, right? AI, stereotype as a function, yeah. So I'm going to turn on my light. Jews being, that is just a lie. It's never been a stereotype for Jewish people that we kill non-Jewish babies and drink their blood. You know, it's just a lie. It's a libel, right? So let's go see, for fun, Jewish stereotypes. Let's see what pops up. Okay, on Dr. Google. Jewish stereotypes. Okay, stereotypes of Jews, right? Excuse me. Okay, let's see what they say. Stereotypes of Jews are generalized representation of Jews, often caricatured and reproduced, prejudiced and anti-Semitic nature. Jewish jokes reproduce common objects, phrases, and traditions are used to emphasize or ridicule Jewishness. This includes, but is not limited to, the complaining and guilt-inflicting Jewish mother. Jewish mothers guilt their kids, often along with the meek, nice Jewish boy and the spoiled and materialistic Jewish American princess, which is a lot. It could be true. That's why they're stereotypes, right? So, physical features. In caricatures and cartoons, Ashkenazi Jews are usually depicted as having large hook noses and dark beady eyes with drooping eyelids. Exaggerated or grotesque Jewish features were a staple theme in Nazi propaganda. Okay, so that's different. You know, there's a difference between stereotypes and just conspiracy theories, right? Nose, right? The idea of a Jewish nose that characterizes a Jew, right? It's a whole thing. The hair. To distinguish a Jewish person is red hair. Was commonly identified as a distinguishing negative Jewish trait to have red hair, which is not true. Most Jews don't have red hair, right? But that's still a stereotype. Hands, right? There's the whole thing. Behavior, right? But stereotype okay, so there's a whole thing about like the stereotype, right? La Belle Juive, French, the beautiful Jewess, was a 19th century literature stereotype. A figure meeting the description is often associated with having and causing sexual lust, temptation, and sin. Her personality traits could be portrayed either positively or negatively. The typical appearance of the Belle Juive included long, thick, dark hair, large, dark eyes, and olive skin tone, and a languid expression. An example of this stereotype is Rebecca in Sir Walter's Scott Ivanhoe. Another example in Miriam in Nathaniel Hawthorne's romance, The Marble Fawn. So then there's another stereotype that Jewish women are just they're beautiful and they're there to just basically seduce you. Then there's the Jewish mother stereotype. Is both a common stereotype and a stock character that is used by Jews as well as non-Jewish comedians, right? The stereotype involves a nagging, loud, manipulative, highly talkative, overprotective, smothering, and overbearing mother. Which is all true. It's true. Okay? It's true. Who persists in interfering in her children's lives long after they become adults and excellent at making her children feel guilty for actions that may have caused her to suffer. The stereotype is described in detail and then whatever, this Jewish mother, right? It's true. It's true. Okay? The Jewish mother stereotype can also involve the loving and very overly proud mother who is highly defensive. It's true. Excuse me. My neighbor, okay? Dudes. Okay, so there's a difference between stereotypes and just libels, right? So the stereotypes are true, okay? Like my mother, she's been overbearing. She is overbearing. That's the way she is, and I love her for that, right? Enough with the spirit fingers, because you can't say Jews are witches, gives them to height. I thought that was cat stealing baby's breath. Ivanhoe. By the way, you have nice arms. Thank you. Filbert Bedeau. Hi, the Potters. Hi. So, yeah. Getting into this whole entire Jew hating thing, right? So, I'm trying to expose to you what a Jew hater looks like. A manipulative one that is a snake. Right? So, while stereotypes may be true, not all stereotypes are true if they've become stereotypes, right? So, going back to the stereotypes, right? So the nagging, yeah, like my mother is a typical Jewish mother. Like she's involved in your life way after you're an adult. She's there to nag you and drive you insane. Jewish mother stereotype can also involve a loving and overly proud mother, like my neighbor, who is highly defensive about her children in front of others. Yeah, so my neighbor, she's always praising her children, boasting about her children, and she's just like over the top, which can be distasteful. Like Italian mother stereotypes, Jewish mother characteristics are often shown cooking for the family, urging loved ones to eat more. Yeah, exactly. Always that way, like, oh, what can I make you? Eat, you're too skinny, eat. And taking great pride in their food. Feeding a loved one is characterized as an extension of the desire to mother those around her. Yeah, that's why there's that stereotype of the Yiddish mama, right? Okay, so it keeps on going, right? So it's like the Jewish mother become one of two stock female Jewish characteristics in literature, the Jewish American princess, and the focus has always been not on the woman, but the ineffectual man whom she dominated. So this is actually true. Most Jewish women dominate their husbands. Out of necessity, the focus of the Jewish mother stereotype that arose was based on a shift in the economic circumstance of American Jews, right? American Jews are no longer struggling first-generation immigrants living in impoverished neighborhoods. The soldier women, work ethos of Jewish women, and the levels of anxiety and dramatization of their lives were seen as unduly excessive for lifestyles that had, for the middle-class Jews, become far more secure in suburban. By the middle of the century, Jewish literature came to focus upon the difference between Jewish women and what Jews saw as being the various idealized views of American women. The blonde bombshell, the sex kitten, or the sweet docile apple pie blonde who always supported her man. In contrast, Jewish writers viewed the still articulate and intelligent Jewish woman as being, by comparison, pushy, unrefined, and unattractive. Because, listen, if you go to any Jewish community, even though the man is in charge, right? In charge. It's kind of like if you go to watch Fiddler on the Roof, you know? He's in charge, right? Whatever he says goes, and she's just like, yeah, whatever. She's the real boss, right? Fishman describes the Jewish mother stereotype that was used by male Jewish writers as a grotesque mirror image of the proverbial woman of valor. A Jewish mother was a woman who had her own ideas about life, who attempted to conquer her sons and her husband, and used food, hygiene, and guilt as her weapon. Like Helmreich, Fishman observes that while it began as a universal gender stereotype exemplified by Erik Erikson's critique of momism in 1950, blah blah blah, generation of vipers against dear old mom, tying all of male America to her apron strings, it quickly became highly associated with Jewish mothers in particular, in part because the idea became a staple of Jewish American fiction. Yeah. So then there's the Jewish American princess, right? Which is true because it's not for all Jewish American princesses, but it's about I think this is the Jewish American princess is stuck onto the Persians who came to America, like the ones from Iran. Correct me if I'm wrong. Jewish American princess, Jap, right? Is a stereotype that's for spoiled Jewish women who are brats, right? Let me tell you, I'm pretty sure this is for the Iranian Jewish woman. Right? Okay. So, yeah, these are stereotypes. Jew face, big nose, whatever. That's fine because a lot of it is true. But I already basically destigmatized and I already debunked the Jewish nose myth. Right? Because it's not only Jews who have large noses, it's many other cultures. Okay, moving on. Right? Moving on. Where are we? Jewish princess in the house. They look beautiful. Thank you, Louise Reyes. The cats were just licking milk from baby's lips. Cats were just licking milk from baby's lips. Ghettos, not ghettos. Yes, so moving on to what this guy is saying, right? Let's go on. Right. He says, by that logic, all Jews love killing babies then. That is not a stereotype. That is just a libel, which has been going on for ages and ages and ages. That's what the Goyim decided that we do, which is not true, right? It's just a lie. He says, is that true too? I said, that's a lie. That's been put on us by haters from generation to generation. Of course not, because of confirmation bias. I said, which led to the Holocaust. All these lies led to the Holocaust. It's just conspiracy theories, right? It's not confirmation bias, it's conspiracy theories. It's like the Elders of Zion, you know, like those, the Elders of Zion is a book compiled by a bunch of Jew haters that put it together with no basis for their Jew-hating theories, and it's been debunked time and time again, right? He says, you literally just said that stereotypes are based on truth. There's a difference between just outward lies that have been repeated over and over again to become the truth, and stereotypes, which are true to every people, right? I said mostly, not all. Nah, confirmation bias. He says there are exceptions. He says bull. I said, in my opinion, just my opinion. It's just my opinion. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. He says also, it's not true that all Jews love to kill babies, but by your logic, it would be true. No, that's just a lie. That's like a pure lie, outward lie that everybody knows it's a lie, but they put it on us just as an excuse to be able to kill us. It's not a stereotype. I said, believe what you want, that I'm a bad person and a hater. I don't care. He said, well, not to solve problems. Anyway, my friend said that Israel's going to win anyway, so why be worried? I said, so he writes, okay, it's not true that all Jews love to kill babies. By your logic, it would be true. I said, there are exceptions. We are the most lied about, picked on group in the world, so that's a stereotype that we are the most picked on because it's true. So it's a stereotype, I said, that we are picked on, and that's why it's true. He says, the Palestinians don't have weapons that are capable enough. That's a lie. That's another lie that he's saying, because on October 7th, they proved that they're very capable to murder people. I said, he says, anyway, my friend said that Israel's going to win anyway, so why be worried? I responded, it's not about winning. aha, sure, he says. He says, there are exceptions. We are the most lied picked on group in the world. He responds, aha, sure. So he doesn't believe that we are the most picked on group in the world. And here he is with his friend picking on me and my people. Isn't that amazing? I said, it's about neutralizing the enemy. He says, still sounds like bias, whatever. Making sure they can't attack us again. So basically, I'm telling him that the reason why we're going into Gaza and, fighting this war is that they can't, to keep us safe from their threat. He said, agree to disagree. So he's not a Jew, so he doesn't understand what it means to be a Jew. He's a black person. He's been picked on himself for being black, but he's racist. That's why I say, the black community is no friend of the Jews, and they are racist towards Jews, even though they make up 40% of American people. Literally. The black population is 40% of Americans. It's the truth. He said, still sounds like bias. Because we are the picked, I said, we are the most picked and lied upon group. We are the most lied, everybody's lied about us. We are the most picked on group in the world. 50% of American crime is our, we are being, 50% of crimes in America are, hate crimes, are hate on us, Jews. He writes, that's like a bias. That's bias. It's not true, he's saying, right? I said, it's the truth. The truth is hard for the hater. He's a hater, and it's hard for him, right? He agreed to disagree. I said, it's the actual truth. You don't like Jews. That's all there is to it. He said, the truth is harder for the hater. He responds, the truth, but you don't even believe in science. I said, I do. So he's putting words in my mouth. I do believe in science. There is 2 genders, there is man and woman, and there is intersex. And that's it. That's science. I said, you don't like Jews. He said, now you're just trolling. I said, it's the truth, and it's okay. Most of the world hates us. One more makes no difference. We are always going to win. It's not, he responds, it's not anyway. Why are you worried about Israel losing when the Palestinians don't have a chance? That's the big myth that the world has, that the media has created. This myth that the Palestinians have no chance against the big bully Israel. Nonsense, right? So I said they do have a chance. That's why they did. That's why they murdered 1,500 in one day. They murdered 1,500 of us down south. That's like 9/11, the World Trade Centers. 3,000 people being killed in one day. It's like 9/11 for Jews on steroids. That's what I said. He says, no, they don't. They don't have a chance. They have way less weapons. Their weapons aren't as strong. They aren't receiving a lot of funding. So now he's worried about the enemy, our enemy, that they're not getting enough funding, that they don't have enough weapons to kill me. See how fucked up this is? If Israel wanted to take them out, they could. That's what he says. I said they have the UN on their side. The rest of the world support. As if that's enough, he says. That doesn't matter. See, he's sympathizing with the Arabs as if that's enough. Is the UN helping them fight? No. That's what he says. Yes. The UN, actually, UNRWA, the UN, the TV stations, the media, they all joined in on the October 7. They all came in to Israel from Gaza, and they killed us. The UN, UNRWA, the media, they all joined in. Wow. I said, yes, they joined in on October 7 to kill us. He says the only way the Palestinians can win is if multiple countries gang up on Israel. It seems like most are just not getting involved. This is his hope, that all the countries will gang up on us. There's something wrong here with his brain. I said, you listen to the news. That's why you believe what you believe. He said, Israel is probably going to win. Do you not have hope that Israel will win? He asks me. He says, the only way Palestinians can win if multiple countries gang up on us. I said, they have in all the wars. In every single war, all the countries ganged up on us. Jordan, Egypt, Lebanon, Syria, Iran, Iraq, all the countries, they all ganged on us every single war, right? I said they have been all the wars, and now as well. So other countries are attacking Israel right now. They are actually on a small scale. Like in Lebanon, they've done some stuff, right? But on a small scale, not on a big scale. So that's why we're not really at full-blown war with Lebanon and Jordan, right? All right, why do you think we have groups near Lebanon border and Jordan? Why do you think the Israeli reservists are all being called up to guard the north? Why do you think most families in the north have to be replaced and they're basically being in hotels. They're living in hotels now because they have to leave the northern borders, right? Lebanon and Jordan. Our armies are basically being stationed there in case we're going to be attacked by Jordan and Lebanon and all those other countries, right? Is that our army is ready for attack on all sides and within Israel in the West Bank. So we have Arabs within the West Bank where I live, the village next door to us, for example. They want to kill us, right? I said where I live. That's why the reservists are all called up to be ready on all fronts, not just by Gaza. We have the enemy within, the Israeli Arabs, the Arabs in the West Bank and the surrounding countries. We're really outnumbered here. We are only 7 million Jews in Israel. Actually less with the 2 million Israeli Arab population. So there's 2 million Arabs that are Israeli Arabs within Israel. We have 3 million within the West Bank, and basically probably like 4 million pure Jewish bloods within Israel, right? That's it, and we're surrounded by a billion Arabs, Muslims, 50 countries. I said it's literally a David and Goliath situation here. Go look on the map. Yet you stand with the enemy, who are billions. But that's the nation of the world's for you. Zero empathy. He's always like bragging about him having so much empathy for everyone and how the world would be a better place if they had empathy, right? But he has zero empathy for the smallest minority in the world. One of the smallest minorities of the world, right? The smallest minority of the world today is the Totos, who are 200 people, right? They live somewhere. But the Jews are one of the smallest minorities of the world, right? He says, what are you talking about? You're acting like all Muslims are fighting Israel when it's only the Palestinians. He doesn't know history. Like this, he's talking out of ignorance and out of his ass because he doesn't know any history. Like every single war in Israel has been the entire Arab countries, all of them ganging up on us. He says, don't talk to me about empathy. It doesn't seem like you have any either. Fuck you, Dan. Yeah. I said, you're in delusion. Wow, I said. He says, what are you talking about? You're acting like all Muslims are fighting against you. They are. Because they are and they have. You know? They have. Since 1948, they've been ganging up on us and murdering us. He says, how? I said, even Iran. This attack on October 7th was backed by Iran, paid for. He says, where's the proof? All the nations are attacking us on small scale every day. Go do your research. The Arabs from Gaza said so, the ones that were captured, and there's more proof. You just need to do your research, it's out there. Okay, but why do Christianity and Islam have anti-Jewish hatred in them? I said, it's not hard to believe. The Arabs unite for just one cause, to kill the Jew. So he asked, why do Christians and Islam have Jew hatred? It's because of their Bible. Their Bible says everything, right? He says, what about Islam? I said, it's a religious thing. What about Islam? In their Bible, I made a video on their scripture. I actually made an entire video on, I can't see anything. Sunset. I actually made an entire video on their scripture. Hi. This again, yeah. Gingers are more persecuted. Exactly. Why would Egypt let them in? Exactly, right? Gingers are very persecuted. I give people a chance to explain themselves. So borders are okay now. Say Joe Biden, the world is crazy. Yeah. I think everybody should have borders. We need the British Empire back. Exactly. Back to this lunatic. Okay? Let's go back to this Jew hater. Right? I said, in their Bible, I made a video on their scripture. I can show you guys the video I made on them where I did my research on their book. Okay? I sent it to this guy multiple times, and he just doesn't care. Islam is the only reason they hate us because Muhammad the Prophet said so. He also lied about Jews in his holy book. Oh, alright, so if you could take a Palestinian child as a hostage to stop the war, would you do it? Do you see this lunatic? This Jew hater? See what he's saying? Oh, alright, so if you could take a Palestinian child as a hostage to stop the war, would you do it? So now he's trying to, put this whole hostage idea on a Jewish person when the Arabs are the ones that have kidnapped 300 Jewish hostages. They kidnapped us. They took our babies. Literally, they took our babies as an act of war, which is a war crime. And he's asking me this question like a fucked up retard and a manipulative snake that he is. I said, nope, that's what the Arabs did to us, stealing our babies. Like, who does that, right? He says, even if it ended the war. I said, and the world feels bad for these baby killers and kidnappers. This guy, this moron, he feels bad for the Gazans who literally kidnapped Jewish babies and knocked their heads against the wall and splattered their brains out and burnt Jewish families alive in their homes. I mean, like, this is what he is rooting for. You know, he's a criminal. He says, even if it ended the war, we could use robots. I said, work by the air, like, just drop bombs, bomb them from the sky. The war can be over if they just surrender. If they return our hostages and surrender, there would be peace. But they won't do that. They are the ones that are at fault. They started the war. They could end it if they want. He says, we don't have the robots capable of holding hostages. And return our people to us, which they stole, I say. So you just want Palestinians to pass away. So he's putting words in my mouth. You see? He's a very evil, sick person, you know? And all this while, he's behaving like he is the victim, and he's so nice, and he likes Jewish people. But this is what he really thinks. Like, the venom is dripping from his soul. He has no soul. I don't believe. You know what I mean? But he's a loser. He lives in his mommy's house, so what do you expect, right? I said, you're behaving like a little prick. He says, you just want Palestinians to pass away. And I responded to, we don't have robots capable of holding hostages. I said, you're behaving like a little prick, because he is. You know, like, he's acting like a little manipulative little bitch. Right? I said, surrender. Stop sending rockets to kill us, because that's what Gazans are doing. They're just sending rockets in to us. The Iron Dome, thank God, intercepts them, but they're trying to kill us. It's a war. This is a war, and he's on their side. Right? I said, he responds to me saying, you're behaving like a little prick. He says, name calling won't get you anywhere. I said, return our babies. He says, don't be a douche. I said, you seem to be short-sighted with a short memory as to who started this. You're behaving like a little manipulative little bitch. You're on their side. He says, peace treaty. They don't want peace. They want to murder us. He said, He says, stop being a dipshit. I said, let them send our people home. Return the hostages. I said, LOL, you're a Jew hater. He says, and I suggest a peace treaty, but you seem to not be for peace. This is the manipulation. This is, like, infuriating, because it's such a manipulation, you know? Like, oh, you don't want peace. Who says I don't want peace? Who started the war? What, does he expect us to stop the war because they're crying that they're dying because they started this? Right? I said, okay, so you have selective listening skills, it seems. I suggest you just go to Gaza and help them in their effort to kill me. He says, you seem to love war. I said, I think you love it. He says, nah, you love it because you don't want a peace treaty. I said, the Jew hatred comes out in a manipulative way. He says, despite me never claiming that I have that. He is a Jew hater without saying I hate Jews. He is saying it in a manipulative, disgusting, twisted way. You know what I'm saying? Like, you see with all this conversation how he hates Jews. You know what I mean? Like, asking stupid questions and putting words in my mouth and saying, oh, you don't want peace, right? He's not remembering who started this war, and him as an atheist and as a gay person, they would murder him, literally. And he's defending these monsters. I said, either you're deaf or you just on purpose behave stupid. I told you what you need to do for peace. I told you who started the war. I told you what we're dealing with. But you behave like you don't hear and say we Jews don't want peace. You forget who murdered my people on October 7th. Who started this war. You forget who can end it by behaving civil, such as returning those who they stole from us, and by surrendering to us to end this war. You are a Muslim lover and a Jew hater, nothing to see here. You are just like Candace Owens, a snake. Because she is actually somebody who claims to like Jews, but she brings people on her channel that are self-deprecating Jews who hate Jews, and to be her mouthpiece. When she won't say she hates Jews by herself, but she says it through other people, right? What the Arabs did to us on October 7th was inhumane, barbaric, and war crimes. You are on their side. I'm just sad that I wasted my time speaking with a hater. I said, although you and others hate Jews, and we are victimized over and over and over again, and when we fight back, you treat us like we are the devil. We will survive and thrive. Although we are victims, our mindset is of the victor. We don't need your support. Good luck, Dan. And I blocked him because he's a waste of my life, a waste of time, and he's a fucker. And guess what? He's a fucking loser. You know why he's a loser? Because he still lives in his mother's house, right? I was right to trash him the first time he came on my channel. He's clearly uneducated. I don't hold much hope for these hostages' prayers. Yeah, exactly. I don't either. Host is okay. My book news is highly filtered here. Thank you. Don't get emotional. Stay in the argument. Yeah. Whatever. Thank you, Redbeard. You're right. I shouldn't get emotional, but it's just upsetting, you know, like putting words in my mouth, telling me, like, twisting everything around, acting like a manipulative little bitch, you know, acting like twisting everything around and saying different things while not being direct, and then accusing me of all these things that he is guilty of, you know. It's just such a strange thing how people who are gay, he's for sure gay, people who are gay and people who are atheists, they stand with the devil. They literally stand with those who would murder them. And it's out there. You can go look on the internet. Do you know what I'm saying? It's unbelievable. So I blocked him because he's just a waste of my time, and I sent him this video about a day in the life of a Jew, according to anti-Semites. According to Jew haters, here's the day in the life of a Jew. Okay? Hold on. Let's see if I can...
The Jew in his natural habitat, awakening after a long night dreaming of world domination. Next, the Jew adorns his traditional prayer garb and prays to Satan for a quick and easy genocide.
What? No!
While most people put milk in their eggs, the Jew puts the blood of young Christians.
What? No, this is sriracha! Oh my god, I am so sick of this!
After they've eaten breakfast, the Jew then goes to work. Tomer makes propaganda videos on TikTok.
I'm just dancing.
While Mendel sits in the studio and makes propaganda music for which they are both paid by Israel.
Where are you getting your information from?
After a long day, the Jew heads home to count all his money. Oh no, wait. No, wait, they found me. No, don't come over here. No! Ah, stop! Help! Ah! Here we observe the Jew in his natural habitat, awakening after a long night dreaming of world domination. Next, the Jew adorns his traditional prayer garb.
Very good. It's amazing.
Quick and easy genocide.
What? No!
While most people put milk in their eggs, the Jew puts the blood of young Christians.
What? No, this is sriracha! Oh my god, I am so sick of this!
After they've eaten breakfast,
So
the
good.
Jew then goes to work. Tomer
This
makes
is what Dan
propaganda
thinks.
videos on TikTok.
I'm just dancing.
While Mendel sits in the studio and makes propaganda music for which they are both paid by
Yeah, I'm getting
Where
paid
are you
by
getting your information
Mossad.
from?
After a long day, the Jew heads home to count all his money. Oh no, wait. No, wait, they found me. No, don't come over here. No! Ah, help! Ah! Here we observe the Jew in his
Okay, let's see what
natural
people say. Disclaimer for all anti-Semites. This is not proof of your conspiracy theories against Jews. We're making fun of you. Somebody comments, you're missing controlling the banks and media, the Talmudic rituals, stealing chickens, light genocide. There's a lot to get through in a day. Somebody writes, you forgot the part where we run Hollywood. Yeah. This person says, you two are very, very funny, especially love the blood and egg. I'm Israel Chai. Somebody writes, we're loving, strong, passionate, warm, brave, and oh, so funny. Here somebody writes, the end was pretty satisfying. Aha, you're a genius, guys. I love your content. The blood one was actually invented in the Middle Ages by people who actually killed children and just blamed Jewish percent to get themselves out of trouble. And the rumor still goes on till this day by some people. Exactly. This is so good. We want more. Did you get your checks from the Israeli government yet? I'm still waiting for mine. This is my style of humor. Love it. Okay, but this is actually genius. This satire is amazing. Yeah. Funny but sad. Yeah, it's true. Hilarious. Love it. Haha. Disclaimer, because people are dumb. Bruh. Somebody comments, laughing my ass off. Can't just imagine the anti-Semitic response to this. Very clever using comedy as a double bluff. Perfection. You forgot the part where they own Pornhub. Yeah. There are people that are coming out and said that we own Pornhub. Cool with the propaganda, Tomer. You wish you were paid from Israel. Yeah, I thought the ending was putting the villain on him. We don't drink Christians' blood anymore. Now we prefer the Palestinian blood. Imagine that, right? It's disgusting. Hilarious. Ah, the Jew denying his conspiracies as usual. Ha ha ha. This is genius. Brilliant. This is true. I do that every day. Where's all this money? I would love some of it. Great video, my brothers. Right? I'm just dancing. This made me laugh so much. Quality satire right there. I do love planning world domination. When it's my turn to use the space laser, watch out. Exactly. Like, what's her face says, what's her name? You know that lady. The Christian Jew hater, what's her name? What's her name? The blonde one. I'm just dancing. This made me laugh. So much quality satire here. I do love planning world domination when it's my turn to use the space lasers. Yeah. This made me laugh so much. Perfection. This is probably your funniest video. Yeah, so we went through. So he doesn't have the honor of writing to me, this Dan whatever face. And, so, yeah, this is Jewish Stereotypes, and this was my opinion, and I just had to get it out and talk about, like, the Jew haters that are, they are trying to act like they're so nice, but then they throw out little, like, you know, he's acting all nice and understanding, and then he's being like, oh, you can win the war if you want. Oh, you don't want peace. Oh, you know, if somebody went and raped his mother, then I tell him, oh, you don't want peace. You just want to fight with the person that raped your mother. You just want to kill you're a hater. You want to kill the person that raped your mother. Imagine if I said that to him. What does it sound like? How inappropriate is that? How sick is that? How evil is that? He's a bad person. Yeah. And I don't take it back. Dan, you're a bad person. And you know what? You're a loser. You're a loser. And not only are you a loser, you're jealous of everybody who's more successful than you. Get out of your mother's basement. Get up. Get up. Go to work. Move out of your mother's basement. And work hard. And stop complaining about your life. Okay, don't get emotional. I'm agnostic, funny, sarcasm is the best. Demonized, say graped. Exactly. Yeah, demonetized, whatever. I don't make money off my videos anyway, so who cares? As long as they don't ban me. Fuck those bitches. Assholes. Okay, let's eat some salad. Whatever. Yeah? It's good. It just gave me more content for my videos where Israel's paying me, right? My country's paying me, and the Mossad is paying me to make propaganda videos, right? Whatever, you know, like. Whatever. A lot of stereotypes are true about the Jewish mother. It's true. What, I should lie? My mother is overbearing all the years. You know? It's horseradish and green stuff. I'll show you. It's this. I don't know what they're called, and this. You know what I really miss? Harif. Hot pepper. I don't lie. If I find out that I'm wrong about something, I usually say, and I apologize. But yeah, I was wrong, you know? But I don't lie. I'm not a liar. Never been. That's why I hate liars, you know? Because if they lie to me, I lose respect 100%. Like, especially in a relationship, you know? Like this Dan guy, you know? Like, you know, if I give up my time to somebody and I have this, I talk to them, I invest, it's an investment. You're basically, you appreciate just the philosophical part of talking to somebody and interacting, and it's an exchange of energy, right? So The reason why it affects me so much is because, like, I actually talked to this person, and I had him on my channel and everything. And then, after all is said and done, he's a fucking bigot. You know what I mean? Asshole. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need those type of snakes. He's a snake. Slithering snake. And that's why he's a communist. You know, he hates rich people. He's basically a loser. Like, he can't make money. He's too lazy. He doesn't want to get a job. He doesn't want to work. He wants to cry victim all day. Nightmerica. He calls America Nightmerica. America's so bad. It's holding him back. No, you're holding yourself back. You want to be successful? You want? You will be. You don't want? You won't be. You know? Where does ruta bega? What does that mean? Bega? Oops. I don't know what the salad is called. Even in communist Russia, you know? Even in communist Russia, my grandfather, basically, even in communist Russia, my grandfather, you know how it was in communist Russia. Like, they had like 3 families in one apartment, 1 room for each family, and they shared a kitchen and a toilet and a shower. Okay? Even in communist Russia, even though everybody had equal pay, nobody could make more than anybody else. Everybody made very little money. It was a struggle to stay alive and support your family, because everybody got the same amount of money. It doesn't matter if you're a doctor or a lawyer or anything, right? Cabbage soup 3 times a day. Yeah, in Russia, potatoes and cabbage, right? Even though he got 3 jobs, my grandfather, Gregory, his real name was, well, whatever. He had a chip on his shoulder because he got picked on by the Goyim, the non-Jews in Russia. They made fun of him for his Jewish name. He had a Jewish name, which was Tzvi. What was the name? Tzvi? How could I not know? Tzvi? His name was Tzvi, but it was another name. Tzvi? Jewish name. Tzvi. Okay, whatever. His name was Tzvi something, right? And so he got picked on it for it. So then finally he fought to get his name changed, and you understand, to get that your name legally changed to a non-Jewish name in Russia was like really hard work. You had to fight for it and bribe people and do everything. Finally, he changed his name to Gregory, right? And so, but he's still Tzvi Moshe, wasn't he? How can I not know? Yeah, whatever. So he had 3 jobs. He was a hard worker. His family was comfortable because even though everybody got equal pay and it was very hard to make a living, he had 3 jobs. He had discipline. He did tutoring on the side, and he worked really hard, and he saved money. And not only that, you know, he went and everybody had cold water. That's why most Russians didn't take showers during the winter, and they smelled so bad because there was no hot water. So he was very smart. He had the Jewish mind, the Jewish Kabbalah, the Jewish Kep, and he made a system in the bathroom which created hot water for his family and for the other families that were living in the same apartment as him, right? So my father and his brother and his mother were the only ones, and the other couple that was living with them in the other room were the only ones that had hot water, right? Everybody else in Russia had cold water. So he had discipline, and that's why him and his brother were comfortable in Russia, even though whatever comfort means in communist Russia. You know what I'm saying? But he worked really hard, and, you know, my father went to college, even though you couldn't get into college if you're a Jew, only if you had connections, and even if you had connections, you had to, they don't accept Jews into college in Russia, because they were anti-Semitic, right? Only if you had connections, and even if you had connections, you had to pass the tests, which was really hard, right? the day. So, my father, somehow, he had connections. His grandfather was a communist, in the government or something. He had connections, and he was able to get in, right? But, whatever. It wasn't easy, they didn't have easy lives in communist Russia. But, what's my point, right? The point is, don't be a bitch and complain about your life, Everyone has a hard life, Get up. If you have depression, get up. Try to get yourself help. Get on medication. Do what you need to do to get out of the mess you're in, Vegetables you held, showing what you call them. What do you call them? I don't know what they're called. He made a system where it was a generator that made hot water. Back in the days. How old was my father? 70? 65 years ago? Right? So, yeah. Whatever. That's why I said in the beginning, I don't care what anyone says. The black community hates the Jews. Hates us. Even though we helped them. During the civil rights movement, during, the Arabs, what do they call blacks? Let's go look it up. Blacks. The abid or abid is an Arabic word meaning servant or slave. Ha 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 ha. Okay. Yeah. You black people? You think the Arabs love you, the Muslims love you? Look what they call you, bitches. Fucking weirdos. Look. Abid. They call you servant and slave. That's what they have. That's the name they have for you. For you. The Muslims. That's what they call you. Abid. It's an Arabic word meaning servant or slave. That's how they refer to a black person. And not only that, the Arabs, they all have slaves. The slave trade is alive and well in Saudi Arabia and all these Arabic countries and the Muslim countries. Slaves are allowed. The term is usually used in the Arab world as a name for Muslim and less frequently Christian families. However, it's also used in sometimes an ethnic slur for black people. It's mostly used. They're being very polite here in Wikipedia, and dates back to the Arab slave trade, which is still going on today. And they still have the Arabs still have slaves. They're allowed to have slaves, and it's encouraged in their tradition to have slaves in any Muslim country, right? Usage of the word has become controversial due to its racist connotations and origins, particularly among the Arab diaspora. Yeah, it's used in Sudan, in Iran, in all these countries. Uses in Sudan. In terms of Abid and Abid are commonly used to refer to South Sudanese people, meaning mostly Dinka and Nur, who are considered by many North Sudan as a slave tribe due to their enslavement during the trans-Saharan slave trade. Usage of the term in North Sudan is considered derogatory in nature and has fallen into relative misuse in recent decades. In South Sudan, people from North Sudan are in turn referred to derogatorily as Mandukuru, meaning untrustworthy. But guess what? People in Sudan are black. So, right? It's just the truth. Am I a liar? No. Okay, are Sudanese people slaves? Are Sudanese people black? 70% of Sudan people are characterized as Sudanese Arabs, with a significant black African minority at 30%. Yeah. So there are certain minorities that are called, they call them Adib, whatever they call them. There it is for you, right? There it is for you. The Muslims hate black people. They think that they are slaves. Fucking morons supporting Muslims. Dan supporting Muslims. When they will call him a slave. Fucking morons. I can't believe it, right? Fuck you, Brad. Okay, rutabaga salad. This is true, yeah. Whatever, fuck you. Bitch. Brad, you can go fuck yourself. You have hands for a reason. Anyway. Fuck all of you. Only the bad people that hate Jews. Hate my people. Fuck you. Okay. That's that, right? Anyway, it's been real. Thanks for being with me, those of you who are actually decent, kind, and normal. Jew haters, go fuck yourself and go die in a ditch. And because Jew haters hate everyone, they are anti-humanity. And what else? I love my cat and my dog, and I love myself, and I don't hate anybody. I don't hate anybody. I don't have hatred in my heart. I just logically know who's what and what's what. And fuck you, bitch. Fuck you, bitches who hate us, Jews. You know, I curse all of you who hate Jews, that you should die a painful, slow death. Amen. Bye, guys. It's been real. Thank you. And all of you who love Jews, you should have long, happy lives with lots of money and riches and everything your heart desires, including women and bitches. Exactly, Wall Street. Bye, guys. Jester Riddles. Jester Riddles says, you live near in Holy... Yeah, I live in Israel. I don't know why I can't see you. I live in... near Jerusalem. In the west. I live in the West Bank. Okay, bye.